She was scared, but that was kind of the point. It was the first weekend of October after all, and Halloween was right around the corner. Hi, I'm author Sean C. McMurray, and today I'm going to tell you a story about the legend of the Hollywood vampire. My friends and I had a plan. It wasn't going to be anything extravagant, just a simple jump scare involving some fake plastic vampire fangs we picked up at the dollar store earlier that day. It turned out to be something way scarier than that. Jenna was new to Richmond. She'd moved to our school the previous winter, and when our teacher sat us next to each other, there was instant chemistry. She was pretty and had a unique sense of style that drew a lot of attention. She was also quick-witted, so when people gave her crap about her clothes, she gave it right back. I loved that about her. Well, one afternoon in our history class, our teacher started talking about our town's most famous monster, the Hollywood vampire. Legend says that a man named W. Poole was chased out of England for being a vampire, and he eventually settled in Richmond, where he amassed a small fortune, all the while secretly preying on unsuspecting locals at night. The legend never made much sense to me. How does a vampire make a fortune without being able to do business during the day? Maybe Mr. Poole amassed his fortune by inventing and selling a really potent brand of sunscreen. Or maybe he ran a strip club. I don't know. As far as I can tell, by my own research, the vampire legend began when a tunnel collapsed on some workers, boiling the skin off one of them when a steam engine exploded. The poor man crawled out of the wreckage and fled toward a nearby river, hoping to cool his wounds. The river happened to be near the Hollywood Cemetery, and over time, the story morphed into a version of the truth, where the tunnel collapse drove a monstrous vampire out of hiding and into the cemetery, where it took refuge in the tomb of W. Poole, which, considering its strange Gothic and Masonic architecture, does give off Dracula vibes. After hearing the story, Jenna wanted to see the tomb, and after I agreed to take her, the plan was hatched. I picked up Jenna about a half hour before sunset. We parked a block away from the cemetery entrance. Since the cemetery was closing soon, I led Jenna through a crop of trees into the perimeter. I noticed right away that her hands were clammy. I told her we didn't have to do this, but she insisted, saying only that the cemetery gave off strange vibes. Though it had been a clear sunny day, the cemetery did seem darker for some reason, as if the light shed away from the garden of gravestones. Ducking behind trees and monuments, we crept along, keeping an eye out for any security until W. Poole's tomb came into view. Jenna froze the moment she spotted it. She squeezed my hand. "That's it, isn't it?" she asked, frowning. "Yep," I said. "Let's go." I started to lead her forward, but she resisted. "There's something wrong," she said, pulling her hand away from mine. "I can feel it." "It's just the weird architecture," I said, "and we've already gone this far." "No, there's something there." I was just about to call her out for trying to scare me when she said something that made my blood run ice cold. "Your friends, Jake and Sam, they're in trouble." "What?" I said. "You know about the prank?" "Yes, we were actually going to prank you, but now you need to call them and tell them to leave, fast. There's something down there." She patted her chest. "I can feel it, like the change in pressure on an airplane. Call them." If she was acting, she was doing a damn good job of it. I reached for my phone. I called Jake first. It rang several times before going to voicemail. I dialed Sam next, and he answered with a harsh whisper. "Thank God," Sam said. "You gotta help me. I hurt my ankle and I can't walk, and there's something here." I glanced over at Jenna. Could she have been right? Or was this just an elaborate prank? "Okay," I said. "Where's Jake?" "It got him, and if you don't hurry, it'll get me too." "What are you talking about?" "Just hurry, man, please. I don't want to die." His voice was on the edge of breaking. Okay, where are you?" He told me he was by a large statue of an angel about 100 feet away from W. Poole's tomb. I located the angel's stone wings rising above the grave markers and told him I'd be there in a minute. I still wasn't convinced this wasn't a prank, but the fear in Sam's trembling voice left my stomach churning with unease. "Sam hurt his ankle or something," I said to Jenna. "I have to help him." Although she was scared, Jenna wanted to go with me. We ventured down the slope and up another until we reached the angel statue. There we found Sam. He had his back pressed against the stone. He held a finger to his lips, urging us to stay quiet. "It's close," he whispered, "but it's staying in the shadows." "Dude," I said, Jake can come out now. I know about the prank. Jenna told me. It's not a stupid prank. The vampire is real. It got Jake, and I... He trailed off as his bottom lip quivered. Jenna gestured suddenly. There! I jerked my head in the direction of W.W. Poole's tomb, which to my shock was open. There laying in the grass was a blue and white Nike shoe. I recognized it immediately, and for a moment was certain it was just part of the prank, until I saw the piercing red eyes peering out from the gloom. They were very real and not human. I can't explain it, but my entire body cringed. Something about that evil gaze made me want to collapse. Jenna grabbed me by the shoulders. We need to go, now. But Jake's in there, I said, shaking free of her grasp. I started for the tomb, but the door swung open wide, and I caught the form of what was inside. It was larger than a man, with gray skin stretched thin over its sinewy body, a dark substance dripped from its fanged mouth. I hate to admit it, but in that instant, whatever courage I had vanished. I abruptly changed direction. Without many words, I helped Sam to his feet, and Jen and I carried him up the slope and out of the cemetery as fast as we possibly could, staying away from the shadows. Once we were back to my car, I called the police, and through ragged breaths, explained what we had seen and how our friend Jake was missing. The police showed up, and to their credit, searched the cemetery grounds. They didn't find Jake, and told us there was no evidence that W.W. Poole's tomb had been opened. They said Jake was probably pranking us, and warned us to stay out of the cemetery during off hours, or they would charge us with trespassing. We didn't buy that it was just Jake pranking us, but we left anyway. After dropping off Sam at his house, where me and Jake were supposed to crash for the night, Jen and I went to Jake's home. We staked it out, hoping to see him riding up on his bike or something. But he never showed. Not until hours later, after Jen and I had dozed off in my car, he pounded on my windshield, startling us awake. He was pissed and wanted to know why we let him fall asleep like that and then left him at the cemetery. I was so perplexed by his sudden appearance and by what he was saying that I didn't even know how to respond. He looked fine, a little sweaty from the walk home, but no apparent injuries, no missing shoes, just him, a phone with a dead battery, and his claim that all he could remember was falling asleep against the trunk of a tree while he and Sam waited for me and Jenna to show up. To this day, I don't know what we experienced that night. Was it just Jake pulling an elaborate prank, or is the vampire of Hollywood real? Jake has yet to confess to pranking us, but the other option is not much fun to consider. So, is the Hollywood vampire real? Probably not. Though W.W. Poole's tomb is frequented by fans of the legend, I couldn't find any accounts of sightings or tags. But if you have a story about the Hollywood vampire, or something similar, I would love to hear it. Or if you think it's all BS, I'd love to hear that too. Let me know your opinion in the comments. As I mentioned in the story, the source of the vampire seems to be a collapse of a nearby tunnel that killed several workers that over time grew into the legend we know today. There are a few different versions of the tale, but if you want a deep dive into the history of the legend, I recommend you check out author David Castleton's blog about the Hollywood vampire. It's a well-researched and good read. There's a link in the description. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and God bless.